team sucked. I played them the last two events, and yeah, having that environment where there's people around you, especially when it's Scump or Dashy or Karma or Formal, they float my parents. So shout out Splice. They're dead now, but and then
we had smokes when we were doing like content day for Endpoint a while back to do sync claps, like we'll sync up the mics and the camera, and he didn't know what sync clap was, so he just started clapping like he was applauding us behind the camera.
I hate smokes. That dude is so stupid.
He's a good dude. We're a nice team. We're a great team. I've worked with now. I'm about to get a drink, but I'm talking. When I first joined Endpoint, we had Mets, Wave, and Archie. Obviously, Seiko had just gone off to BDS. I think he was.
That team sucked.
With the Archie Mets team.
2 lands in a row.
You guys smashed us out fucking world.
I played him in Saudi too. I played him the last two events.
The game was 8?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Tim Pot, yeah?
Yeah, 7-0.
Oh, wow, okay, fair dues, yeah. I mean...
Love my boy Archie, though.
Yeah,
that's my guy.
I mean, Mets were super nice. Archie, I didn't really speak to much, and Wave was super quiet at the time. And then we obviously had team left, and when we signed Simas, Crispy, and Devo. Devo, that veteran leadership.
I forgot about that team.
Yeah. It's kind of like a team that should have like never existed almost. Tried to rub them out of history. Like we're all doing great now. Like Simas and Crispy are doing great on their individual teams with what they're doing. And obviously Devo's kind of took a step back, I think, from Rocket League and having a bit of a life away from video games right now. Hope he's doing well though. I've not seen him tweet in like
I haven't either.
A year and a half.
I haven't seen Devo's name in forever.
Yeah,
that's a legend. That is a legend.
No, for sure, he's a good dude. He was super quiet though. Again, like he was just sat in content day, just sort of like sat with his folded arms, just not speaking. Like you need people who've got.
It's like a forgotten legend almost, because he was actually just by far the best player in the world in like season 3.
Would you agree that Mets and Norris is like the best player to never win worlds? Is that a fair?
Yeah, I've heard that all time. Yeah, I mean now you've got like Vatira, and you can argue like maybe First Killer, but yeah, I mean Mets is a legend. His longevity was insane. He just played forever and won forever.
Such a nice guy. But yeah, I mean, well, first of all, welcome. I mean, I appreciate you coming on. Obviously, this is the first ever podcast we've done from this new Loadout Media studio here at Pratt Room Sheffield. So we're live here in Sheffield. You guys have come down to bootcamp ahead of the Copenhagen Major. So, I mean, what do you think of Sheffield so far? You had a couple of days to adjust.
No complaints. I mean, I'm excited to be number one for the podcast. But Sheffield's been cool. I got a nice 4-pound chicken shawarma yesterday. And
bro, I say it.
Coming from America, I saw it was $4. Like, okay, this can't be a ton of food, right? So I got 2 of them. Worst mistake of my life. I mean, it was massive.
So that's what that thing was wrapped up on the desk yesterday. You still got one spare.
That was me.
I mean, you got to keep an emergency shawarma at all times, bro. You never know when you're going to need it.
I couldn't believe how cheap it was. That was unreal. In America,
so good. Yeah,
that's $9 at least.
Honestly, I think everyone in this office and everyone in this wider company, I put onto the shawarma game and just love that shit. It's so good.
I'm a fan.
It's
Probably
great.
Another one today.
There's so many good places to eat though in Sheffield. Like I know, obviously, we're not a super like touristy city. People don't come here because there isn't a whole lot to do. But when you have such a university scene and things like that, and we have such a diverse population, people have brought so many different cuisines and things here. It's great. So it's a great place to boot camp.
I was talking to Jack, or apparently Jack from Gen G, and I was like, because I learned we were coming here, I was like, what's in Sheffield? And he's from, I don't know.
He told me
somewhere in England. He told me. And he's like, nothing. There's not a thing there. I was like, okay, noted. I'm excited to see it. I thought there would be less, to be honest. I was surprised with like how much was here actually.
We've got some like bits and pieces. Like there's a water park like near where we drove past the other day when you guys arrived. There's a water park down near there. We've got 2 universities. We've got the Peak District, which is like the juxtaposition of like the city landscape and like the urban jungle, and then you've got where we drove to get from the airport. There's all that like grassy hills and all that kind of thing. That's Peak District. Super cool, like dog walking, people like that. You go like not mountain climbing, I guess, but people go for like big treks and big walks up there.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty cool area. But it's nice to have that sort of setting of just like nice grassy pastures right next door. You can go and like disconnect.
Spot. I'm a fan.
No, it's great. People complain about the walking though because it's built on like 7 hills. So it's tough to.
Greg complained about the walking yesterday. Actually, going to get shawarma.
Yeah. So London Road is pretty much all uphill. So if you're heading down from the bottom, you've got a bit of an incline going up for sure. But yeah, I mean, I just want to talk to you a bit about, your journey so far in Rocket League and things like that. And obviously, we're going behind the boot camp, so to speak, and getting to know people. We have so many people come here, cool people across like esports industry, players, coaches, managers, owners. And it's just good to get to know them more. People come back time and time again to us just because we have such good relationships with people. So it's just sort of adds to that, I guess, and just getting to know people a little bit better. So you go ahead. I mean, you don't need no introductions, but you go ahead and tell everyone who you are for those who might not know.
I'm Slater Thomas, or Retals, and I play Rocket League professionally for Luminosity, and I played Rocket League professionally for Space Station, Pittsburgh Knights, OpTic. Luminosity is home number 4. It's been good.
So you'd say probably like 4 years now professionally competing at the top level?
Middle of 2019. So yeah, 4.5. 4.5. We're getting old, man. I'm getting to be the vet. I came in. In 2019 we were the youngest team to win a LAN, and now my name is on the top 10 oldest players list at this LAN. So
Wait, how old were you in 2019 then?
16.
So you were 16. Was that the Montreal event was it DreamHack?
Montreal was
When
16.
you were with Knights, and
so I was 16.
wow, it's crazy. 16 years old. So your parents just let you travel to Canada.
Yeah, Montreal actually. Well, okay, before that was Valencia, so that was like the DreamHack Pro Circuit. Dallas was my first ever event, which was a short flight from home. Valencia we qualified for and we got flown out for. I actually played under Splice for that event. We weren't signed, but they flew out my parents, so shout out Splice. They're dead now, but and then Montreal was we were signed to Knights and we were going to announce like the day before, and we couldn't for some reason. They wanted to wait for some media company to finish something up, and we ended up winning that event. And I think Knights kick themselves for that every single time, because I think that's their only major win.
In entire history, yeah. And they couldn't announce anything, couldn't do anything with it.
We were unsigned, and we
weren't in jerseys, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Oh no, we were sitting. We were in black t-shirts and white t-shirts on Championship Sunday. Yeah.
So just to get this straight, then obviously you went with your parents, so that's kind of a little bit better. But your first like LAN event outside of Dallas was Valencia, which is like what, a 9-12 hour flight, something like that.
It was long. I don't even remember. It was like Virginia, or small airport in Virginia, to JFK to Frankfurt to Valencia. It was.
So basically what you're saying is every time you go to an event, you get on the worst travel routes possible.
I've had some of the worst flights. Because that's the thing. When I first started flying, like my first 3 years of events, I never lost anything. I was always lucky with everything. Never got a delayed flight or anything. The last 2 years have been miserable. I've had my luggage lost 3 times, including this trip. I'm in Asda clothing right now. My Dallas to Doha flight, which is
for Gamers
16, yes, for Gamers 8, which was 16 hours long. We were stuck, delayed. Oh my, it's just miserable, man. Some of these land flights are so tough. I didn't even get the worst of it. We were coming here because we had to fly to Copenhagen first and then here. Magic and Kev, our analysts, had 5 flights
to get out of the way.
And then me, Cheese, and Greg had 4. But Kev was on like a 38-hour travel day. It was miserable.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, it's got to be grateful that obviously Blast came through and obviously ended up paying for the flights and getting people out early, especially for that the jet lag situation where you guys got to get adjusted to the new environment and things.
It's a good compromise.
Yeah. Hopefully, I mean, the guys I know at Blast have been great so far. They seem like super cool guys, and I hope that this is just teething issues at the start and it gets better. Which I think it will for sure. But yeah, that's crazy. And I mean, for those who obviously don't know at this point, you currently have no clothing in the UK, basically.
I have no clothing.
Except what you've bought.
I have my shoes, I have my sweatpants, and my hoodie that I wore on my flight. But other than that, I have nothing.
And everything is currently potentially somewhere between Heathrow in London and Sheffield. We have no idea where in transit, pretty much.
Praying I get it before Copenhagen, to be honest.
Yeah, well, that's going to be the issue, really. So, I mean, in terms of Copenhagen, speaking on that, so what kind of preparation are you guys doing right now? So, obviously, you're here for about 5-6 days before you head there?
Yeah, nice little 5-day boot camp, which I think is like the perfect time, because like anything shorter, I don't really think it's productive or
you don't get value out of it.
But anything longer, by like day 5, by day like 7, you're just
fatigued and ready for home and things.
I've had those. I've had those, but
hit slumps for sure. Yeah.
We're feeling good. I think that being here is good. Ranked is better. Scrims are better. The atmosphere of practicing in person obviously is better. This is the first time we've been together as a team
because Cheese joined
with Cheese in September. Yeah. So I'm excited. I think we've got, I mean, we just got here. Yesterday was day number 1. This is day number 2. So we've still got quite a bit of practice.
You got a whole sort of free weekend where, in theory, everyone should be available to get on and
Right.
play
We've had,
frequently.
yeah, yesterday was long and we're going to have some long days, but it's fun to be able to like lock in for a week and a half and then kind of chill for a bit. And then, cause I do really enjoy like the intensity of our practice now, cause we kind of all realize like what's on the line. It's not like we're back home, we have a regional or something.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's time to to prove that we can hang with the best, including Carmine or Vitality and Falcons and whoever it is.
Yeah, I guess touching upon that there, then obviously there is a lot of people that say that the EU Rocket League community and Rocket League professional scene is miles ahead in terms of quality of gameplay than obviously NA right now. Obviously, France on its own could be its own region with how talented they all are and how much they're dominating the scene over here. Do you guys think there is a skill gap there that you guys have got to close in?
So that's where I would think, like you said, I think there's a skill gap between France. I think France is the best region.
Yeah,
I think
the region of
we
France.
have players that can keep up. We have First Killer, we have Daniel, we have Beastman. We have like a group of 4 or 5 players that I do think are, you know, side by side with the best in the world. But we had an ugly end of last season, and I've talked about this before, but you look at our best teams last year. You had First Killer on phase. The team was dead. Everyone knew they were breaking up after the season. They didn't practice well. They were barely a team. You had V1 with Daniel Beast Mode. They didn't like playing with Calm. That team was also dead. They had one of the most dominant regionals I've ever seen and then missed the major by choking. It is what it is. You had Atomic on a weak, but out of all the superstars, probably the strongest team. But still just not compared to what it is now, a weak G2. You have LJ who one seed NA with, the team that he had, which was impressive. So I think we consolidated our talent well. I think that out of our out of North America's top 7 players, 6 of them are on, G2 Gen G. So after that, you go LJ, you go Magic, you go Cheese, whoever it is. But I think that our team construction was terrible last season. And I think it was more of that than a skill difference between, EU and
Getting the
NA.
right
But
people in the right places is
right. And I
critical to
think now,
success.
especially G2, that team is unreal. I think we have the right players and the right pieces. I think LJ could probably go to a stronger team still, but because he should not be missing out on majors.
I guess with this current format, the big issue, as in our region at least, obviously you could probably attest to it as well in NA. We have the foremost dominant teams right now, or some of the most dominant teams right now, with the French teams that have kind of closed off the major for everybody else in our region. What do you think about the format from your honest perspective as a player?
I think that the biggest fault of this format is worlds because for majors, going down from 5 spot to 4 spots, it does suck. Like no one was happy with it from the players, but I understood it. Like downsizing a little bit, esports, it's in a tough spot right now. But worlds, they're having worlds be the same as majors where it's still 4 spots UNA, which sucks. I think we need at least, the wild card system that we had where you could send at least like 6 or 7 because yeah, look at it from an EU. If you're not a French org, then you're probably not making worlds. You have Oxygen that could maybe make it. You have Magnifico, which they aren't even signed, but it's tough. French or France really could be their own region. They are that good. And I think NA, now you have the argument, which I don't remember this argument ever happening with 5 spots, but now with 4 spots, you have the argument of, okay, did we send our 4 best teams? Because you have Space Station only losing to G2 3 times, Gen G 3 times, and then OG once, where it's like they lost and they got knocked out by Gen G every single time in playoffs, which is the 2 seed. So it's like, is SSG stronger than LG? Is SSG stronger than OG? We played them once, we lost in game 5 overtime. So you can make the argument, and I don't hate people that do. Like I understand the argument, but I do think if you're SSG, you got to win one of those Gen G matchups. They're not some unbeatable team, especially earlier in the season. But I don't know. It's tough. It's esports is in a tough spot. We got dealt a tough hand, I think, this season. But I think things are looking up. I'm really excited
Yeah,
for
I
how
agree.
Blast handles this LAN.
Yeah, I think the esports winner, as people call it right now, we're headed. There's light at the end of the tunnel in some aspects. Obviously, it's very much attributed to the economic state of the world right now. But yeah, I agree with you right now. Yeah, right, we are seeing some good signs, and I think things like we've still got like the Gamers 8 LAN. I think it's got a different name this year. Is it the Esports World Cup they're calling it? Technically the same organization putting that on. It's kind of weird how that's such a big event and it's off the actual main season compared to the actual
It's
main
such a
season
weird
itself.
event for Rocket League too, just like the players, because first year it was right before the World Championship, so it was better. Second year it was right after. 90% of the teams were already broken up. The only teams that were staying were us, and we ended up breaking up. G2 ended up breaking up, and I think that was it. I mean, maybe some minor region team.
So
I don't think so.
they reshaped it then this year, so the dates are better because obviously, like you say, people change. Like people, when
Right.
you get to the end of the season, you've had enough of spending all that time with those people sometimes, and it's ready to move on. So have they
Oh,
changed
dude,
the
it was
format to like make that work or the
yeah. It's
dates and
before
things?
Worlds now.
Okay,
It's
cool.
before Worlds now, so it is better. But dude, it was a joke. It was just every team because it's a $2 million prize pool, which is the same as Worlds. It should be a massive event, but you just have teams like Old Oxygen. They're
Yeah.
not practicing. They weren't playing. They were just hanging out by the pool, and then they were slamming the event. It's so like the idea of no pressure is a crazy thing in esports, especially Rocket League. It's nuts.
Just have a good time of it and take home your share of 2 million bags. It's yeah, it's wild. So I guess your sort of time is split very two ways right now. Obviously, you have a professional play side. I mean, obviously, you're super heavy on the content side. I think you were like top three Rocket League creators in NA and probably top 10 maybe worldwide, something like that. Like crazy stats. You're obviously killing the game. What's it like splitting that time up? And especially right now in the heat of the season when everything is so important.
It's not tough. It's more. I say that I have not been very consistent compared to what I used to be, but it's more just discipline than like super time consuming. It's because it really only takes 30 minutes, 30-40 minutes to record a video, and if you post daily, it's 30 minutes a day, which
Yeah,
sounds like nothing, right? But
with the benefit obviously of having that external editing team and things to help
right,
you.
I'm very blessed to
Yeah.
have my boy Veeds and my editing team, but I think I mean I try to convince every player that I'm friends with to do it. I think it's super easy. Once you get to my point, it's easy. I think obviously starting is hard. It's not starting anything isn't easy, but once you get into that habit, but
But it's super rewarding right now as well, though, because like TikTok, the discoverability of content is
it's
so good.
nuts. It's
You can
nuts.
start, and that dopamine rush you get when you get, 4 or 5K views, and it expands up to 10, 15K, and then you're in 100Ks. It's so rewarding. And, I guess from an organizational perspective, because obviously I'm not a player, I can speak from the organizational side that when, we were looking at players to sign, and obviously when the bosses are looking for players to sign, we're looking for those guys who've got a personal brand growth
Right.
already. And even with the staff, like our team, the executive management are super supportive of like anything I want to do with like making our own content. Our content manager Bailey doing what he does as well. So yeah, just across the board, like having that personal brand in esports is so important, and I'm really surprised that more players, particularly in Rocket League, where the fan base is so wide, don't do it. Same with COD as well.
Yeah. COD's better about it though. All of them stream almost.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
Rocket League is tough too
No one
because
streams scrims. Weirdly, like it'd be EU at
I've
least.
tried in Rocket League. I don't know. It's because okay, I used to do it in season X, and we would stream NRG scrim, say NRG. It was SG NRG. We were like 1 and 2 for most of the season.
Yeah,
I streamed them a couple times. There were times where they slammed us and we slammed them. You would see it all over social media for like swear like a month. That's all you would see. So then like players just got tired of like, okay, we got slammed in scrims. Now I'm just gonna see it all over Twitch chat or Twitter or Reddit or whatever it is. Like there's Reddit threads being made of your scrims and stuff. So it's like, I don't know, it's tough. But back on like like you said that you're looking for players to do content. I mean, all the players know. Rocket League is very tight knit. Like all the pros are friends.
yeah.
Everyone for the most part knows like what players are making the most money and stuff. And I won't go, into specifics with it, but it's always the people with big brands every single
Yeah,
time. It's not it's the players with the biggest brands are usually like the absolute top. Right below them are like the best players, and then it's everyone else.
Do you mean in terms of cumulative earnings from like the content side as
No,
well, or just sort of from the
just
organizations?
straight organization salary, and then yeah, you have like the YouTube earnings or the Twitch earnings or TikTok, whatever it is,
Yeah, it really
sponsorships.
it's you know, it helps with the income for sure, having all that extra income coming in from the content side. I guess from your own, you know, your journey so far, you worked with SSG, you know, huge NA org, and then you went to the behemoth that is OpTic. Um, how much of your sort of individual success and what you learned and the takeaways you took from those organizations, is it Sean Duras at
Yeah,
SSG?
Sean, yeah,
And then obviously Hex at Optic, you know, the teachings they can give you that you take away and you turn those into your your personal brand and the content you're building.
right. SSG was the start for me. I didn't do content before SSG, and I actually, give a lot of credit to Sean Duras. He taught us a lot, about YouTube, about Twitch, about just putting yourself out there. He has like 3 YouTube channels, all with like 4 million subscribers. He's
Oh wow.
killing the game.
Yeah.
SSG is the only org or only major org without investors. Like they have sponsors, but it's strictly Shonduras.
Yeah. Okay.
So they do whatever they want, which I respect the way they do it a lot. I might be a little bit wrong on that somehow, but and then OpTic, I was a huge OpTic fan for forever. I mean, I
I think
wasn't
everyone in esports has to be. Like,
right.
it's part of a
And
growing
I
up phase.
watched like you, I would watch the Eavesdrops podcast. I would watch like Hector's vlogs and
60-50. Yeah.
right, right. And so I knew about the emphasis they put on content before I went to OpTic. That
Yeah.
was part of the reason why I did so much content was because of them. So going to them was a little surreal, and I give a lot of credit for my consistency to them because I was here and there. I would post when I wanted. I would stream when I felt like it. But going to OpTic, especially like once it hit like January or February, we sucked. We were bad in the winter. We got 2 dead last back to
Yeah.
back. We ended up getting a third, fourth after that. But I remember after that second week, I was like, I gotta lock in. Like it needs to be every day. So I would go to the office at 11 a.m., stream for 3 hours, scrim for 3, record for a couple, and then just play. And I would be there from seriously like 11 to 2 a.m. every
Yeah.
single day. And, Hector would come up in the back of my streams, or, I would talk to Dashy or whoever it was at the time.
And you were streaming from headquarters. Yeah, you were in there.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
At
Yeah.
the NB office
Yeah. Okay. When
downtown.
you
So,
maybe transferred over there.
right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And it was having that environment where there's people around you, especially when it's Scump or Dashy or
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Karma or Formals.
Absolute like
It's
heroes
nuts.
of the scene.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
for
Like
sure.
people I
Yeah.
grew up, I was 10 years old, 12 years old watching them. So
Exactly. Same
being
here.
side
Yeah.
by side with them and then like hanging out with them, even like going to get dinner with them. Like they don't, when you're that big, or maybe they do, but I don't think they realize like how crazy that was for me.
Imposter syndrome of being
Right,
around these
because
huge names.
I'm on the same org as them, right? Like I'm just in a different esport. They're probably just like, oh yeah, we're just hanging out with him. But that was crazy to me. Like I remember the first time was OpTic night. I moved in and I wasn't announced yet. And I went to the baseball. They did like a Rangers collab.
Saw that you had a picture of Scump on the
Right,
stand on
and
Twitter.
Hector,
Yeah.
that was my. I wasn't even on OpTic yet. But I was in an OpTic Rangers
Yeah.
jersey, and I remember going to change in the bathroom, and I was walking out, and this is like in the concourse where the concession stands are, and someone recognized me and asked to take a picture, and I'm unsigned,
In the OpTic
in an
jersey.
OpTic jersey. I was like, all right, I'll take this picture, but you can't post it until after I'm announced, which was in like a couple days.
It's
And he
pushing the
actually,
fans not to announce it and
he
leak
stayed
it.
true to his
Hey,
word,
that's
which I
fair.
respect. I respect that guy,
Super
but
typical. That's good of him. Yeah.
it's nuts, dude.
So obviously your content journey started with SSG. Sean put you onto the game, and Hex and Optic gave you the brand growth and the tools around that to sort of elevate that to the next level. Do you see yourself like post LG and obviously after this season, your brand is infinitely growing and you'll have more time if you weren't playing to carry on that trajectory? Do you think you see yourself in a position where you take a step back from competing and head to content full time? Because as we both know, make more money from content potentially than you ever will competing. And it's a lot easier to have that sustainable income than it is to make sure you keep on making the majors and the regionals in this format. What's your thoughts on that?
It's weird because content was always second for me, and it still is second for me. I
Yeah.
only did content because I was a pro. I never did it before. I wasn't like going into it thinking, okay, I'm gonna start streaming and stuff. It was only like, okay, I'm pro. I should probably do this, make a few extra bucks. And I
Yeah.
never expected it to be where it is now. But I've had, I've had the chance to go away from competitive and towards content. And I think as long as I can compete, I've always said to myself, as long as I can make majors or am in contention for majors, so like top 8
Yeah.
NA, I think I'll compete because it really is like what I love. I don't know, especially this offseason was a weird one for me because, you know, there was the potential for it, and it was something I thought about a lot. It wasn't something I ruled out instantly, but it was just I love competing. Like I wake up wanting to improve in Rocket League. Like competing is
It's like a human trait, just being
it's
competitive
right,
and being
and
wanting to be the
you can
best at
be
something.
competitive in content. Me and Jack, or apparently Jack,
Yeah.
like have this conversation a lot because he's very like you can be competitive in anything like content, business, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I just something about Rocket League competitive. I just love it, like the team aspect of it. Just getting better individually, like mechanically or smarter or whatever it is. Like I love it. Like I've done it. I haven't known anything else for 8 years now, 7 years now. So it's
Yeah, that's it. That's interesting. Yeah.
life. It's life for me. It really is.
In terms of, in the space right now, besides yourself and Jack, who are the other sort of big names right now in Rocket League who are doing the content side as well? Because obviously I can think of like COD, for example, off the top of my
Right.
head, because that's where I
Right.
came from. So like you can draw those similarities. But in terms of
Rocket
Rocket League,
League is a weird one because I do think me and Jack and Arsenal, actually, I'll give my credit to Arsenal, are like the
leading the charge.
three, yeah, in North America, the three like biggest grinders for the pros.
Yeah.
But even then, like we're still me and Jack laugh about it all the time. We're lazy. Like compared to other esports, Rocket League creators are lazy.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll give credit to, Squishy, of course,
The
pioneer.
pioneer of it, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You have even like Chronic is starting to do stuff from Gen G. Um, Frosty from he was on NRG for a bit is starting to, pick up the streaming stuff. He was doing YouTube a little bit. But I mean, then you go across the pond and it's K Dot. You have Vatira actually has started doing YouTube.
Oh, I've not seen
I
it
don't
yet.
think it's a ton of him. Actually, I could be completely wrong, but
Honestly, like the only guys I've ever seen doing it so far have been yourself, Jack, and some of Arsenal stuff as well.
right.
Because I believe you've done quite a lot of collabs with those two as well. So it kind of puts you onto their content as well if you were doing most collaborations. I don't know anyone really from our side who is sort of hugely notable who comes purely from a a pro side into content. I know some guys who are really talented at the content who are good enough to be bubble teams.
Right.
Like, for example, when we were looking to sign our new roster for the 2024 season, we had a few different, options on the table. We were in conversations with the Top Cougars guys, with a team we've got now, the Monkeys, when they were still the Monkeys. And then we had like a third option as well at one point, which was Dark, who was the biggest creator in the Rocket League space on the TikTok side. Because short form is so key in Rocket League, where the attention span of the audience is so small, and then pair that up with two like big up and comers from the bubble scene here in EU, and sort of trying to make it that way. Whereas if we don't make it, we can still fall back on the fact that they've got the audience and they've got the brand. So it was an interesting strategy, and one that we didn't end up going down because we were keen on making it competitively with Monkeys, who were obviously consistent through the last year and a half of regionals and things like that. But yeah, it was definitely a route we could have gone down, which would have been super interesting. Um, yeah, it's one of those things. What could have been if we'd have
What
had
could
that
have been?
team.
There's so many things like that in Rocket League specifically. I mean, I can think of a million roster moves that didn't happen or almost happened, and then org moves that didn't happen. Like I almost came to Europe in 2020
Which
with
team?
Mouse, with Speed and Cucks,
Okay.
which before they lost their org,
Yeah.
Mouse, and then eventually got Liquid. But we were talking about it.
Would have been living in Sheffield. They would live in.
I would have lived in
You said Mouse is in like
Germany.
the CS. Yeah, so you've been in
Right,
Hamburg. Yeah, they've just opened a new place actually. Yeah, looks kind of cool. Hold that thought on the team then, because I'm actually going to ask you right now. If you had the opportunity, like heading back to the gaming side again, to be the GM and to build a team, around. If you took Cheese and Magic Bear and yourself out of the equation, if you had to build a roster of players from the pool that currently exists across all the regions, who would you go with? And if you can give us a little bit of insight as to why.
Okay. Well, I'll do NA only because I do know like a decent amount about EU and a little bit about the minor regions, but NA, like I've competed in it for 8 years and
Yeah, of course.
I know
Go
these
ahead.
players like the back of my hand. If we're going unsigned players, I'll say I would start with Interesting. Let's start with Eris. Eris on Poab this season, they finished tied 5th or 9th, wherever they were. Unreal player. He's going to be really good eventually.
Someone who's not hit their skill
he
ceiling yet.
he hasn't, and maybe no, he hasn't. And he plays the game the right way. He's good at the off-ball stuff, and he's very good on the on-ball stuff. And usually in Rocket League, the only people that are good at the off-ball stuff are the players that aren't great mechanically and need, which is me, which is Arsenal, which is you have a ton of players like it. So I'd start with Eris. I would go give me Eris, and then you look at the Omelet Boys. They just took G2 to 7, just made a top 8. I would probably go something like I would probably take Andy as well from Poab, and then you match that with either like Zanil or a Lion Blaze. I would probably go Eris, Andy, Andy's been around forever, premium gap filler. Good player, not as good as Eris, but it's why I see why they like each other so much. They fit. And then I would put Zanil on that team. Zanil's a player who came from, that core of like Cheese, Sosa, Gyro, like that PK Koi core. And I think he's hitting his stride a little later than I expected. I've kind of been gassing him up for a long time now.
There's a guy called Sosa?
Yeah.
Does someone name themselves
There
after
is a guy
Chief
named
Keef
Sosa.
somewhere?
There's a guy named Sosa. Yep. Shout out Gian. But yeah, I actually think NA is weird though, because like I said, you have the 6 of the top 7 on the top teams, and then you have LJ, Cheese, Magic.
Yeah.
Like that's like the top 9 in my head. So it's
got a bit of a mix in there of some like veteran
I don't
leadership.
know if you can make a major team with unsigned players. If you have like a little budget to start buying out pieces, then maybe, but it's tough. And making majors now is just so hard. The change from 5 teams to 4 teams is massive. Like that's because now it's like you get a 5th 8, or back then you get a 5th 8th. You're like, okay, we're basically tied to go to the major, but now it's like, okay, that's not good enough, which is crazy. So it's weird.
Yeah, that's an interesting insight. I like the fact you've got some veteran in there. You've also got some bubble scene that's popping up and coming in. That's a big thing over here right now. I mean, I'd be honest with you, like I did not know a lot of the guys on like Team Field Magnifico before they kind of blew up this year, in our region at least. They've come out of seemingly nowhere from my perspective as not an avid Rocket League watcher. I just sort of know enough about the scene to get by from a business standpoint.
Atomic and Tox have been around for a little bit.
Tox, I've heard of his name around a little while. Yeah.
Stizzy is actually a weird one because he's been getting gassed by like top pros for probably about a year now, just because of like rank 2s, like how he plays just in like the competitive game mode, where all the pros are like, okay, why is this guy not like at the top? Yeah. And there's a weird amount of players that are like very good in ranked but can't translate it.
Yeah.
And you play against them and you're like, I mean, there's even like lower tier pros or middle tier pros that are like that, and you're like, why isn't this guy on the best team in the region? You in NA, you look at like Evo, where he's on Dignitas, he's not known to have the best mentality, but you look at his talent and it's undeniable. It's just someone teach him how to play the game and be a normal person, and he would be a top player in our region. Like it's tough.
There's a few people in Rocket League that could benefit from learning how to be normal people.
Esports
wider,
thing,
yeah.
dude.
A lot of people who are very reserved and shy, and when they get into that sort of team situation, it can be a little bit of a daunting thing, I guess, being around people all the time and having to be sociable.
Right? Usually, the people that are the most normal in esports are the ones that played sports growing up.
Yeah,
and me and our coach Greg actually talk about this all the time. You look at just in NA, like I can think in my head like the players that played a sport, the players that didn't play a sport, and obviously like there's players that played a sport that are not normal, and there's players that didn't play a sport that are normal, but usually it correlates pretty heavily where it's the players that were locked in their room in COVID, playing Rocket League 14 hours a day, usually aren't the most sociable normal, and easy to work with
people. But you guys played soccer growing up,
right?
Football here, we call it the right name, football.
Yeah.
You guys played football growing up, and obviously you had to build a team and like the rapport with teammates and the camaraderie.
That's the biggest thing, just like being a teammate, just like understanding like everyone has feelings. It's not just you. Like it's weird, man. It's weird.
That's a great take, honestly. Like I'd never even thought about the fact that the guys who played proper traditional sports growing up are the guys who have the best mentality and can deal with losses and failure.
Really. Yeah, it's usually just empathy,
people skills, just generally soft skills. Yeah, for sure. Major 2 this year.
Okay.
okay, where do you want to go? Because obviously nothing's been announced yet. I can say it now, I think, because obviously we already started with the season. The owners had meetings with the um, with ESL when ESL still had the contract with Sonics. And the majors were obviously Paris and London, and then Worlds was, I believe, was in Dallas, I think, that year. For this year, sorry. Obviously now we have Blast involved. They've kind of put a 180 on the whole thing. Copenhagen, right. No one knows where Major 2 or Worlds are right now. Where do you want to go? If you had complete freedom of choice.
I want to play in France so bad, dude. I want to play in France.
You want to get booed, then, yeah?
I want to get booed so bad.
You want to
get
like, booed?
I love that. I don't want to go anywhere where we've already gone. I've already played. If we're talking lands from the start to now, Dallas, Valencia, Montreal, Madrid, London, LA.
Bro, you've been all over.
Yeah, everywhere.
Denmark,
Saudi. Now Copenhagen will be.
Sweden as well. Sweden.
I didn't play in Sweden.
Oh no, did you not?
But no, yeah, I didn't make that land. But I want to go to Paris really bad, and I want another NA land. NA land. Let's say New York.
Nice easy travel day for you. Go from Dallas to New York.
I do love California, and they do Cali a lot. We've had 4 or 5 Cali lands in Rocket League's life, but Cali's awesome. Give me Paris and New York.
I'd love to go to California, honestly. I want to go out there, man. People say it stinks, though. Apparently it's really...
Parts of it do. You go to San Francisco or LA, but San Diego is actually the best city on earth.
San Diego was last year. The final one of the year, yeah? Final major?
No, that was the second major.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, obviously, I'd love to see more in the UK, but France is such a good shout because France is, the French fans are crazy. Dude. The content creators that started the organizations that built the French Rocket League community, you'd be booed is it Com at London that got booed out of the building? Basically, you get booed like Com.
You could fill up a 50K arena in France easily.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
Actually easily, which would be insane. The biggest we've ever played in was Dickey's Arena for 21-22 Worlds, which was 15.
Fort Worth, is it? Or somewhere in Texas? Yeah, Fort Worth.
Which was 15K, which was insanely loud.
And you go to a 50K stadium. When you get to that kind of number,
passionate fans too,
that's sports arena levels.
I know, that would be insane.
We have we have a major coming to London this summer for Counter-Strike. Can't think of the name of the game then for a second. The Counter-Strike, it's not actually a major, it's just the Blast Finals, but that's happening in the Wembley Arena.
That's so sick.
I don't know how big Wembley Arena is off the top of my head. I'm looking over at my producer, hoping he might give me an indication of how big Wembley Arena might be. Oh, that's stadium, yeah. Oh, I'm not sure how big the arena is, yeah, but I think that's a pretty big venue. Something like that for Rocket League would be crazy, especially in France as well, where they're so diehard.
I would love that. So I want to play a give me Carmine or Gentlemate. It's one of those fan bases with the big content creators behind them. Let me play them on LAN in France. That would be the craziest experience ever.
They are really diehard, and I get obviously they get a lot of bad publicity. I think any diehard fan base in either sports, traditional sports, esports, all get a really bad rep. Look at OpTic fans with Call of Duty, for example. The OpTic COD fans get so much hate.
Yeah. But it's just because there's so many.
It's like a pack mentality.
The biggest fan bases in every sport or esport always get hated on the most. You look at Lakers and the NBA, you look at, I don't know who the biggest fan base in the Premier League is.
Man United's fan base, everyone hates Man Liverpool.
Right. It's everything. Every sport is like that. And to go back to the France thing, I don't know if you remember the G2 Carmine off-season event.
Vaguely, yeah.
Where G2 beat them in Game 7 in France. And I tried so hard to play that event because they were getting rid of Chicago, and Chicago already knew, I don't really think he wanted to play the event.
Yeah.
I wanted to play that event with G2 so bad, dude.
They could guest appearance on the G2 roster in Paris. No, yeah, I know what you mean in terms of that fan base being crazy wild. I would love UK events because UK events are obviously fantastic for what we do here with Bootcamp space, but yeah, I think it's kind of sad we don't see much diversification into the minor regions as well. I kind of feel bad for those guys. Obviously they have a big $2 million event in the Saudi Middle Eastern region pretty much every year now. It's kind of a steadfast part of Rocket League at this point. But we never really see anything in APAC or anywhere that side of the world, really.
Right.
I guess obviously for
even Brazil, Brazil would be insane.
Again, very much in France, though, all the content creator led organizations and the fan base in Brazil, esports in Brazil is so we had Imperial here. before you guys, like last week they left to go ahead to Copenhagen for the PGR major for Counter Strike. Their fan base is crazy. Like those guys are just a sort of middle of the pack. Obviously we're a top Counter Strike team, but in terms of like the HRTV rankings, which is how they rank the best teams in the world in Counter Strike, they're around like 25, 30, something like that. They're not super high, but their fan base, bro, is wild. They have like 1.2 million followers just across their like personal accounts on Twitter.
Dude,
And that's just on Twitter.
Brazilian fans and French fans are insane. I remember there was once upon a time when the NAEU beef during COVID was the biggest. I remember Card, who was on Fury at the time, now on Crew, I think, tweeted at me because I was tweeting at Monkey Moon. There was a whole like beef there. He's like said something along the lines of like, you don't have to leave the Americans to get, shit on. And um I replied with something. Because that was disrespectful. Back then, Sam was not great. And I just remember every time I lost, and by the way, a year and a half later, I lost to Complexity for a land spot, which was a South American team. I still get DMs in Portuguese to this day. Whenever I lose, of like, you suck, you're terrible, blah blah blah, your mom, blah 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 blah. It's insane. Their fans, and for better or for worse, are ungodly passionate. It's nuts.
Shout out, the mom's taking the brunt of the anger on Twitter. I was gonna say I completely went on a sidetrack, but yeah, in terms of that, the French fans, when we go back to like Carmine Corp, for example, like we played Gentlemates, beat Gentlemates in like the first time we matched up with them this year, and then we played Carmine Corp for, I think I want to say it was for top 4. This was when we made top 8 for the only time this split. The fans were super respectful. Like you wouldn't expect it almost, because you get such a bad they get such a bad rep for their, like we were talking about this a little bit earlier, but they were all so kind and respectful. Like, GG, like you guys played really well. You guys like great team and all this, mostly in French, but when you click the translate tweet, they were super respectful, which is really nice to see, because I kind of get the general,
you get the negative fans.
Yeah, I get the general impression that we're going to get slated as soon as we sort of leave that server and we go onto Twitter to post a result. We're going to get body slammed, and it was so nice.
I think if you won, you might have, but it's tough because, like, with most fan bases like that, majority of them are like nice people.
Yeah,
but it's just with any fan base you have both sides of the spectrum. You have the absolute worst fans and the best fans, so it's tough, and usually the worst fans are the loudest. So
when the beef starts, the pitchforks come out and everyone starts chasing you down through social media.
But it is nuts. Even like Nolly, who was on Carmine and talked very highly of them, if he ever tweets anything, even like a normal tweet, if OG does well, Carmine fans still respond to him 2 years later, 3 years later, which is insane.
Never forget. They forgive, but they never forget.
Dude.
In terms of your where you are right now, obviously you're 21, so it was like 3 year age gap between us, and obviously I feel like we lived like a kind of a double life, except you're a Rocket League pro and I'm not. But you obviously moved out around the same time I moved out of my family home as well. How are you finding sort of living on your own and that independence now? Because you don't share with teammates and things, you're just you.
My roommate is the G2 coach, Sathu.
Okay, so you have got a roommate now.
But I did live by myself for 2 years.
Okay, cool.
It's not too bad. I think I'm very blessed now because we have like 10 Rocket League players in the same apartment complex. Like,
oh wow,
we're
really?
taking over. Yeah, it's me, Jack, Sathu, Rolda's Arsenal, Com, Chicago, Hawks, or Turbo.
And you've just said all that right there, and now you're gonna get doxxed.
Nah, we'll be fine. But it's nuts. So me and my mom are still very close. I talk to her all the time, and that's the hardest part for me. But other than that,
it is. I shout at the moms, honestly. Like having like supportive parents in this space, like even from like the employment side where we work in business dev and things like that, or the player side, it's great. No, it's interesting. Yeah, it's hard moving out, and it's really sad for the first few weeks, and then you get that independence and think this is actually great. I love
friends
this.
Are tough too, though, because like all of my friends,
back home,
went to college.
Yeah,
every single one of them. Basically
traveled around the US,
and it's weird because we just live such different lives that, like, in high school I would see them every other week or every weekend, basically every day. And now it's like
once in a blue moon.
You guys are in school, I'm traveling, I'm living in Dallas, and then traveling basically full time, where I'll see you maybe on Christmas if I don't have an event.
And you go back to Virginia for Christmas and go see your family. Yeah,
right, which is tough because that's definitely tough on the mental. Like, it's very low. Esports is like the loneliest job
that
I can think of. It's like, because you're sitting in a room for you're sitting on a computer for 12, 14 hours a day, and even if you're talking to people online, it's not the same as in person.
I remember something Hex said a long time ago. It's if I might misquote this, but you have to make your teammates your friends and not your friends your teammates.
Teams
A
are
long time ago.
relationships.
Yeah,
Me and Greg have that conversation. Teams are It's literally the exact same as dating someone. Like,
yeah.
you can't treat them
Live
bad.
and die by them.
It's yeah.
They're
It's
your rock.
if you have a bad scrim or a bad like argument, that stays with you. In esports, it's not a 9 to 5. It's 24/7,
Yeah. You have to be able to walk away, take a mental reset, and come back and
which
be a
is tough.
be a good person. Yeah, it's
Which is
tough.
tough.
It's hard to have like a bad scrim set or a bad tournament and go back and be a respectful human being. I think for a lot of people, like
And with
it's
so
tough.
much like money on the line
Exactly. Yeah,
and
it's your
prestige,
livelihood.
it's like right. If Cheese or Magic Bear, if they were just
It sort of fucks you
terrible,
over.
if they were terrible in game and out of game for a month, I might not have a contract.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah.
when you start like thinking about like
It's your livelihood, it's your money.
these
They're
right,
fucking with your money, then it becomes an issue. Yeah, it's hard to, I guess that's the thing with maturity. When we lowered the age gap to get into Rocket League, as you're aware, I can't imagine like 13, 14-year-olds like coming into professional
making
esports.
6 figures.
Yeah, making stupid money and also having having to learn how to deal with the pressures of being at that highest level, dealing with the shareholders and the management, and then you've got your own teammates, you've got your support staff and the coaches and analysts and things like that. There is so much external pressure on anyone's mind, let alone someone of that age who hasn't got that full maturity yet.
Right. And I will give a little credit actually to Daniel, because Daniel's the one that I like watched happen. He was 15, and when the age got, or when the limit was, or the, what I'm trying to say, it was 15. And, as soon as he came in, there were 6 orgs offering him 6 figure contracts. And he actually dealt with it pretty well. I mean, I will give him his flowers. I mean, I was, like 16, 17 when it happened, but it's so young, dude.
Yeah, 15 years old to make that kind of money. I know, Joyo from our region. Everyone knows Joyo. I know Joyo's mum really well. Shout out Loz. She was messaging me over Christmas because like, what the hell do you get for your like 17, 18,
That has
18 now?
everything.
Yeah, what do you get for the child that has everything?
My mom always says that. It's like, I can't buy you anything because anything you want, you just buy.
Exactly. When the kids are making
But
like
it's
twice
also
what the parents make and 3 times what
right.
parents make, what the hell do you get them?
And that's the biggest thing too. It's like when I'm making as much money as like I am or Joyo is or whoever it is, it's like you don't want people to buy you stuff anymore. Like I don't want, my mom to worry about like spending money on me anymore. It's, you want the opposite of that, which is so it's tough. Like when your parents ask you, what do you want for Christmas? It's like, I already have everything I want.
I won't name which player it is just for their own privacy in case they don't want people to know it, but a player that I worked with here for quite a while in Rocket League, when he started making big money with his organization, again, can't say the org name because everyone will know straight away, but when he was making big money with his organization, he would tell me outside, how he was helping his mum like pay for the house and things, and helping her live a better life because they'd come from a lot of little towns and things in the UK. We come from like quite economically deprived areas, and he was helping his mum come up, which is just amazing. Like the fact that you can make that happen just by twiddling your thumbs and playing a little bit of video games that you end up being so good at it that you can make a difference in someone's life.
So crazy. Could you remember that 50 years ago?
Coal mining, bro. People were sweeping chimneys in coal mining 50 years ago.
I think about that
now,
all the time. And there's a few pros, or I can think of one in North America that's similar. Like he helps his parents a lot. Like I really don't know how they would survive without him, so when I see people like that, like, I mean, utmost respect, right? Like
this new world and this digital shift has created so many like crazy job opportunities and so much money just sort of hanging in escrow that we can get to now, like through creation, through content creation, through video gameplay. I mean, this job alone, like the fact that I'm sat here talking to you right now is just crazy. Like I was working in real estate before. I was a real estate agent before I worked for Endpoint. And then when this job came up, like I took a little bit of a pay cut to work in like the dream job,
right. Would you do it again if you could go back?
Oh, 100%, bro. Like, yeah, I would always come back. Like, this is such a great place to work. Like, the Endpoint brand, the Endpoint group, such a great place to work for.
That's our analyst too, Kev Pert. I don't know if you guys are going to talk to him, but he was, I forget his job, but he's a smart dude. He was making a lot of money.
Like a financial analyst or something like that.
Yeah, he was smart.
Risk analyst.
He's still really smart. And he quit.
He was smart. Came to Rocket League.
Yeah, no, brain fried, but he took a pay cut to be here, and he loves it. And I always ask him questions like that because I worked a couple jobs or 2 jobs when I was younger, like a host for a restaurant or a busboy for a restaurant. but I've been doing this since, I've been salaried since I was 15, 16. So I don't really get like the full world, um, experience. So
It's
I
interesting you
always,
say that though, because like you did work those jobs, you have the humility as a
right.
human. You can tell you do just by speaking to you that you came from, very little and you worked those like small jobs and you had the upbringing and you've earned what you've got. Whereas some people obviously walk straight into it from a very fortunate background.
I will say I definitely am. I'm very blessed. I didn't come from little, but my parents made it a big part of my life where it's like you will work
Yeah,
for what you get,
absolutely.
and
They're the
I've
best parents, right? Like the ones
they're
that
the
like
best.
instill that work ethic and grind into you from an early age are really good. It feels so tough when you're young, and then when you appreciate it so much more when you get to like mid-20s and you realize, ah, shit, yeah, that was such a good thing. That teaching was so worth it.
I always like you always like see people where it's like you'll see someone like your friend. You're like, I hope that I'm as good as their parent was, and the one I actually get that all the time with is MB, where it's magic. It's like I pray that I'm as good of a parent as his parents were, because I've even before meeting them, you're just like, wow, this kid came up like so well. Like he was taught everything so well. It's a good kid, and he's only 2.5, 3 years younger than me, so I'm calling him kid, but it's a
You
good
guys got a
kid.
great team. Like you all seem
I
so
love our
nice.
team right now.
Like the teams I've had the benefit of working with like quite a few Rocket League teams, and they've all been so great. You get some teams that come here, which they are quite dramatic and they're not as friendly to be around. But like the Rocket League guys you work with are
I've
fantastic.
had some of the worst groups on some of my teams. I'll be honest. I've had some of like out of all the Rocket League players, I've had some of the worst. But like these two are like if I gave you the top like 30 pros in North America and I said pick the two like best people out of them, these two would be in like my first three picks.
Yeah,
Like they really are like the best. I'm very blessed with
awesome.
it.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity you've got, and obviously, just being here and having this fantastic opportunity in front of you. Copenhagen coming up, got to wish you the best of that. What's sort
Appreciate
of
that.
next for you guys now? Then this boot camp, have you got plans in place for today, the rest of this weekend,
A
when you've
lot of
got some
scrims
downtime?
today. It's a lot of scrims, a lot of VOD, but that's the story of the next 5 days. It's just getting
Locking
ready.
in for
It's
sure.
locking in. I think right now, and I've talked to Greg about this. I've talked to Kev about it. I think if going into this land, there are 5 teams that are better than us. I think G2 Genji are better than us. I think Carmine, Vitality, BDS are better than us. I don't see a world where if we play our game, we're not the sixth best team. I don't see a world where if we play better than our game,
Absolutely lights
couldn't
out. You
be a
can,
top four, top two.
yeah,
I do. I'm very confident in this group. I think we've definitely shown some inconsistency this year, but I don't. I think everyone on social media is a lot more scared for these NA teams than the NA teams are for themselves. I think NA is gonna have a good major. I think we've brought together a good group. I think OG is in a little bit of a slump right now. I haven't been that impressed with them the last couple weeks, but we're gonna be strong. NA is gonna be strong. This if NA performs the exact same as EU this major, I really wouldn't be all that surprised.
that's amazing. Well, I kind of wish you the best, mate, and I appreciate you coming on and speaking to us. We're going to be working with you guys a little bit more while you're here for this boot camp in whatever capacity we can. But obviously, hopefully, you've had some benefit. What do you think of the benefit of the boot camp?
I love it. There have been teams where I've boot camped with. I'm like, this was pointless because it all depends on the group of people you have. But with this group and this facility is sick. It's been great. It's gonna help us a lot.
I appreciate that a lot. Obviously, you guys over in NA don't have the benefit to boot camp. Do you think that impacts the overall quality of that region? The fact you can't get to the locations to boot camp so easily?
Yeah, it's crazy how in Europe like it's so available, and NA got a lot of crap for it this split, but it's like guys, a lot of these like OG. Let's go with the 4 major teams. G2's offices in Berlin. They have nothing in NA. Genji's offices in Seoul. They have something in LA, but you can't play on that ping, West
Yeah,
Coast
I've
ping.
seen that. Yeah,
We don't have anything. And then
outside of Canada.
OG has something in Portugal. So it's like guys, we want a boot camp. NA wants to boot camp. There are teams that in the past haven't. Most of the good Shopify boot camp, okay, and then you go fifth or eighth. Shopify has been boot camping the entire time. M80 boot camp the entire time.
Yeah, they may have got
SSG
like a
has one
house,
in
don't
Utah.
they?
It's West Coast, so it's just tough. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's tough.
No, I get where you're coming from. Yeah, there's a lot of flack that the EU guys gave, and obviously there is genuinely an issue with the logistics. Just the fact that you guys haven't are so far apart from each other.
Yeah,
It's crazy how when you come to the UK, you drive for like 2 hours down the road, The name for everything has changed. Like items in my home, the name has changed. The dialect has changed. The accent has changed. The weather has changed. I mean, like you go to like the US and you drive for 2 hours down the road, you're in the same town.
Right. It's
like
crazy.
nothing has changed.
Yeah, I was talking earlier about it, but me and Magic both live in Texas. We're an 8-hour drive from each other.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Which
it's
is
such a big
nuts.
state. 8 hours here, like I don't think if you drove for 8 hours in a straight line from the bottom of the country to the top, you would run out of
We
road.
were talking about it earlier. Apparently, it's 7 hours.
So it's literally less. Yeah,
Yeah.
is that you might give you that information? Yeah, I'm thinking to myself now, like from the bottom of the country to the top, there's no way that takes more than 8 hours. Like even with traffic. Yeah, it's wild. Like we're such a small country, but then like somehow like happen to be like a superpower of the world. I don't know.
So sick.
You know, colonization.
That's
It's a
sick.
story for a
That's
whole other
sick.
time. Listen, bro, I appreciate you coming on. It's been fantastic. You know, like we said, everyone here at Pratt Rooms and the wider brand, obviously, wish you guys the best of luck for
Appreciate
the
that.
major. Hopefully, Endpoint, we'll see you out there at some point
so.
in
That'd
the
be
future. We can return some of that. You know, when you guys beat us in Worlds back in Fort
Take
Worth,
you
we
guys-
can send you away this
I have
time.
to take you guys down one more time. One more time.
Choke slammers into the ground. But yeah, it was super awesome. Appreciate you coming on. You know, thank you very much. Here at the Loadout Studio, want to give a quick shout out to Streamfly for hooking us up with the microphones. And obviously, we're hoping to have more guests as cool as Retals in the future come down and speak to us. So yeah, it's been awesome. Thank you, bro.
Yes, sir. Always.
Take it easy.
Thank you.